What makes a good relationship?
Well, I don't know about good or not good, but what I do know is that people do want to stay together and have trouble as soon as they find out that they are having difficulties in their communications or whatever it is. And immediately, for some strange reason, really, the question comes up quite quickly in a relationship or a marriage, oh, are we going to be together or not? And I think that is very curious. Why does it need to be like that? And it means that on both sides, there's a bit of a battle going on already. That is, if you do that to me, I'm not going to be available or I'm going to leave. It's always this kind of apart from the beautiful love that's going on, there's a bit of a battle going on. So as far as actually staying in a relationship and having a good relationship, good means, I guess, different things for different people, but good means enjoyable. And life's not always enjoyable, but the only thing that is needed is when the trouble hits, each person has to be willing to work it through, whatever that means. Actually, how can they work it through? They've never been taught to. If you don't like a person before you meet your one true love, you just walk away. It doesn't matter. But you fall in love, you commit, you get married, do all of that, and then years later or a little time later, it's not feeling like that anymore. So before that, no one has learned that there are things you can really do about it, and at the end of the line, oh, we'd better go to counselling. But the actual fact is that people, whether they're married or not, if they want to be together, there has to be a lot of learning about each other and a lot of compromise made, because this whole business of, oh, we're like two peas in a pod and we really fit together so well. Yeah, you did, and now things have gone wrong. So the fact is that each person needs to look at themselves, own their own difficulty, maybe get help with it or maybe not, but certainly be honest and upfront about it and be willing to work it through with the other person. And really, it's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that, but why is everyone divorced then?
Okay, very good question. Because they choose not to do that. Mostly because they don't believe it's possible to have success. They might turn to dislike the other person and find that good reason to not choose to work it out. Or they just don't believe it's possible. And usually it's because of selfishness, really, and lack of understanding.
And do you think it's less sacred union these days or not?
It's less sacred in whose terms? I think probably generally, yes, it is. But I do know a lot of people where it is quite sacred, sacrosanct or whatever, yeah. I think it still has a lot of meaning for people. I think people really want it, but it is a bit of a throwaway society throughout the world. So, you know, if you haven't had one or two marriages, you're not really made it. Or relationships that are long and meaningful.
Why do you think it's important to try to work it out?
I don't. But one very, very important exception. If you have children, I think it is of the utmost importance. One of the most important things you'll ever do in your life. If you can really hang in for the children. People don't believe this. Some do, but really, children suffer deeply from acrimonious and harmonious departures of their parents.
And what about the argument that they are suffering in an acrimonious house?
That is because the parents didn't bother to not be acrimonious. So it's the same, really. There's no excuse, really. I mean, it is okay to part, of course, if things are really too disturbing between the couple and that the children are involved. The children will always be involved. You're born of one parent a male and a female, usually, but not always. And I think that for the child who grew up in that to actually split themselves between two people really has a big impact on their life and their future.
Well, what would you say to a couple that are not getting along that claim they want to work it out?
Well, I get them to look at why it's not working out, and I'm able to help each of them because I understand, I can see why it's not working out in the main, and I get them to look at themselves, really, to look at their part in the not working out. Within couple therapy, I don't do it very often these days, actually, because generally I find people are so willing to blame and wanting to blame. Again, the blame thing comes back. And I stopped doing couples therapy quite a lot when people just needed to come and have a good fight in front of me. So I really think that people have to start looking at themselves individually. I don't think couples can work on it very well in counselling. I haven't seen a lot of success, to tell you the truth. It can help people separate, but some people, of course, it does work and they get to understand more. But I think that it's something, if each individual does their own work, they get to have a much greater understanding of the other, and then they stop their fighting.